Nestled in a country setting, this course is no picnic. Even advanced drivers will have to balance blistering speeds with precise and timely steering technique. Long sweeping curves and wide roadways define this wide-open race, but keep alert. Subtle elevation changes and low visibility from fog may present a tough challenge. Look off-road to your left after the tree canopy for a shortcut opening between the rocks. Turn slightly and shoot the gap. Watch your speed and timing on these back-to-back S-turns by the Wax Museum. Stay wide and dive for the inside of each turn to shave seconds off a record time. The German countryside will be a blur on this fast track. You'll speed through a green landscape lined with weathered cottages, towering windmills, and a traditional German town celebrating Oktoberfest, of course. These roads are very narrow and rarely straight, so pay attention to your speed and line. Drive onto the grass to your left and shoot the gap between the trees and the fence for a good shortcut. Hold on tight, you'll catch some major air getting back on the road. You'll have to lay off the gas to make this long 180-degree turn without hitting the guardrail. Brake hard to keep from hitting the wall on this sharp right turn leading back into town. Prepare for a harrowing racing experience among the windswept cliffs of this coastal track. Climb to the height of old igneous rock and then plummet to the windswept coast. These ancient roads will put your handling skills to the test. A narrow S-turn will require quick steering. To avoid the rock walls, brake slightly and cut to the inside of this turn for the best line. The narrow roads through this forest hide a number of quick, sharp turns. Tap your brakes while taking these corners to avoid leaving precious paint on the walls. Think fast. Right after this sharp left, hug the right wall and take to the grass. Shoot through this tight area between the rock and the wall to shave off seconds and separate from the pack. This beautiful wilderness retreat combines rugged terrain with thick alpine forests. But among these sweet pines, leisure takes a backseat to speed as you set out to be victorious on this idyllic wilderness track. Bring your license to fly as sudden and steep elevation changes clear you for takeoff into the crisp mountain air. Rocket ahead right off the start through these S-turns. Use the grass area for a straighter line, but the uneven ground can make holding that line difficult. Watch your speed and line here. You'll catch some huge air off this steep drop in elevation. Just be sure to set up left before the jump. Then keep a straight line towards the right to stay out of the trees. Cut the corners and look for a straighter line through this narrow and twisting section near the train tracks. Brake hard to stay off the walls when taking this harsh left turn near the end of this section. Set in the rural Northlands, this unique course takes you across pastoral farmland and rustic countryside. In contrast to the rural lifestyle, you'll careen down narrow country roads, but watch out for sudden twists, dips, and obstacles. Lay off the gas and hug these quick, narrow turns that appear in town. It's an uphill climb, so be sure to accelerate as soon as you're clear of the turn. Let up on the gas through these sharp dips to avoid the big air. To stay off the walls, keep a steady speed along this long S-turn by the cliffside. A few quick turns combined with a timely deceleration will power you through this narrow section of walls. Watch your speed, or these stone walls will help redesign the frame of your supercar. Race along these uneven highways that weave through the rural English farmland. Known for its rolling hillsides, these roads present elevation changes that will send your supercar airborne. And remember, this is rain and fog country, so low visibility may provide a steep challenge. The road splits here, so choose a side because it will be tough to change lanes. Ease off the gas to keep from hitting the walls, or weave between the pillars for a better line. Prepare for takeoff, because these crests in the road will send you flying through the air. To minimize the amount you catch, ease off the gas just before driving over these jumps. Hit the brakes hard when going through this underpass to avoid hitting the wall, and accelerate as soon as you straighten out. A treacherous alpine speedway awaits you on this track. Navigate the narrow roadways heavy with snow, but hold on. There's plenty of jagged rock and frost-covered glades, creating conditions that would whiten the knuckles of the most seasoned veteran. You'll need to use your brake and some precise steering technique to drive a direct line through these S-turns after the open wood tunnel. Quick steering adjustments will save you from the walls. In these dangerous tunnels, the road is narrow and winding. Tap quickly on the brakes to avoid the walls near the mid-tunnel section, and again at the end. This sharp right turn requires preparation. Start braking early and power slide your car through the apex as near to the rock wall as you dare. Slam down on the gas as soon as you clear the rocks for maximum results. This extremely tight track may create a claustrophobic feeling in most racers. Tapping your brakes around tight corners will help you keep on the road and off those raised bumpers. If you try to cut corners on this track, your car will flip. This first right turn after the start line demands a hard brake to keep off the wall, especially when you have a lot of speed approaching it. Set up to the outside and cut inside as you start to brake for the best line. Hit the brakes hard on this long right turn after the first underpass to keep from jumping into the wall. Tapping the brakes won't work here, so as you approach this turn, stay to the inside and brake hard. Keep to the road by tapping the brakes through these narrow S-turns in the wooded section. Don't get too close to the crests at the side of the road, or your car will take flight. This closed road course will test all of your racing skills. Hit your top speed as you navigate through narrow S-turns and raised barriers. Only driving technique and guts will earn you first prize here. Ease off the gas a little and keep a straight line as you reach the crest of this jump early on in the race, or your car will end up in the walls that crowd this narrow racetrack. You'll have to tap the brakes when you start to take this tough turn entering the tunnel to keep your car scratch-free. Watch out! This right turn will appear suddenly and requires hard braking to keep from driving over the crest at the end of the road and catapulting into the concrete wall. Set against the backdrop of majestic snow-capped mountains, this all-out racing track has a few surprises in store. Areas with huge elevation changes and pillars that divide the roadway are some of the challenges that define this closed circuit course. A series of quick taps on the brakes will help you navigate through this section of quick turns. Keep to the center of the road and away from the dangerous crests located on both sides. Keep your eye on the road, because it will suddenly drop out from under you in these two sections of track. You'll have to weave through concrete pillars here to keep a straight line. It may be a rural setting, but this track is anything but laid back. Speed's the name of the game, so keep your eyes peeled for landmarks blurring by that could help with your timing on corners and jumps. Concealed by the covered bridges is a jump that produces some big air. To keep damage to a minimum, keep a straight line as you take flight. You'll have to let up on the gas just a touch to avoid becoming part of the concrete overpasses in this section. Stay sharp. This section is narrow and winding, with limited visibility in some places. Lined with lampposts, the main street of town obscures a sudden 90-degree turn. Take it tight and fast, sliding your back end through the turn and accelerating as quickly as possible. Speed zones littered with dust and obstacles require decisive steering on this canyon course. The roads in this canyon roll and dip, with crumbling rock walls looming dangerously close to the sides of the road. Narrow sightlines and outcroppings of rock prove treacherous on this divided highway. Switch from lane to lane and dodge between the rocks to achieve the best speed and lowest time in this section. Come in wide, hit the brakes, and steer for the shortcut opening between the rocks. Power through to the other side to elude aggressive opponents and shave a few seconds from a prize time. Snug rock caverns and elevation changes appear suddenly and without warning. Look to road signs as indicators of where the road may go, and be ready to hit the brakes when approaching blind turns and step on the gas as the road comes into view. Reminiscent of the Monaco Grand Prix, this course combines narrow, twisting roadways with bi-level ramps and concrete obstacles set in a futuristic backdrop. Quick decisions at high speeds are the rule, with plentiful shortcuts and divided roadways. Maintaining your top speed here is easy if you can stick to the shoulder through this run of narrow canals. Tap the brake when confronted with the sharp left turn as the canals end. You'll need to decelerate to around 85 miles per hour to take this 180-degree bank turn. For the second wide bank turn, keep your speed close to 120 miles per hour and power through. You won't need your brake on this one. Trying to change lanes after this roadway splits may cause your car to flip. To keep your rooftop scratch-free, keep to one side and look for a chance to switch back when the lanes converge. Pine trees and steep cliffs provide a scenic view to this mountainous track. You'll climb from the start and then drop like a stone as you hurtle towards the finish line. The roads are narrow here, and a few switchbacks will test your ability to maneuver through tight spaces. Cliffside driving on this stretch requires quick and accurate adjustments to maintain a very high speed. Be prepared for a sharp right-hand turn around a jagged rock wall at the end of this stretch. This tough series of switchbacks provide a tough challenge. Either ease off the gas and hug the inside of each turn, which cuts down on the distance you drive, or come in fast from the outside and then brake hard, sliding the back end of the car through the turn before accelerating. This shortcut over the grassy hill provides a golden opportunity to take the lead for the home stretch. But watch out, the air you catch from this jump may also propel you straight into a tree. This snow-covered country course combines wide-open roadways with sharp 90-degree turns and high-speed jumps. Strong cornering technique is vital to overcoming these slippery streets. Sharp 90-degree turns demand a quick steering response. Cut the wheel sharply as soon as you near the corner, and at the same time, ride the brakes to power slide through these extreme turns. This series of 180-degree turns requires a healthy dose of braking to stay on the road. Watch out, trying to cut through the snow will cause your car to skid. Keep your eyes peeled on this section for a shortcut on your right. Stay sharp. Turn off the road through a forest of trees that guard this narrow space. The reward of a lower time is well worth the risk. Dive into the depths of this canyon course. Ancient temples remain as a reminder of a storied past, but you'll only see them as a blur. Speeds will be very high on this track, so be ready to brake as you rocket through its blind turns. This divided highway is best overcome by weaving between the rocks for a straighter line. Watch out! Stick to one lane as the roadway splits into 3 different levels. Only change lanes when the levels converge, or your car will flip on its roof. Stay alert for the sharp 90-degree left turn as you exit this tunnel after the split-level highway. You'll need to tap the brakes without hitting the wall or the guardrail. High-tech, futuristic architecture surrounds these winding roadways. High speeds are tough to maintain, especially when confronted with twisting roadways, sharp turns, and steep elevation changes, which comprise the majority of this formidable course. A shortcut through the wall on your right is your ticket to the front of the pack. This is a great area to escape from your opponents, but if you fail to hit this narrow opening just right, they will be the last to laugh. This underwater tunnel provides a surreal backdrop as the race nears its halfway point. No need to use the brake here. Hug the inside of each turn to pick up seconds. This cliffside road following the underwater tunnel provides a steep challenge. There are no guardrails here, so one mistake will result in a spectacular crash. Decelerate on the turns and use caution when trying to cut corners. This snowy peak of narrow alpine roads twist and weave over a steep and rocky landscape. Use your brakes wisely, because high speeds on this unpredictable course can put a sudden stop to a great run and leave you with only crushed steel and broken glass instead of a prized record. This sudden drop-off will leave you stuck in the wall unless you let up on the gas just as you reach the crest of the jump. Keep a line heading straight to the left to keep from hitting the walls. This section of the course is designed like a world-class slalom. The same rules will apply here. Steer as close to the walls as possible and find a rhythm to conquer this downhill section. Sharp turns in the town can make or break your chances at victory. Look for opportunities to dive between the lampposts and buildings to sneak past an opponent. Skyscrapers in this dark metropolis stand tall against the skyline. These city streets resemble an obstacle course, with concrete pillars and lampposts posing a great challenge to even the most nimble driver. A shortcut on your left by the wharf just after the start of this race will give you a jump on the pack. But beware, use your brake wisely to navigate through these tight corners. Downtown offers the smart driver a chance to make up some time. Cut inside of the lampposts and drive on the grass to cut down the angles on these 90-degree turns. What appears to be just another wall actually holds the key to a record race. Smash through these wooden boards and shoot through the narrow opening to chop off some major time and make your final dash for the finish line.